Good day, everyone. I'm your host, James Hicks from Hicks New Media, and welcome to a special session of Perspectives in Focus. I am joined today by Mr. Dennis O'Leary, CEO at DarkPulse. We're going to we're going to talk. He's got some interesting news and updates he'd like to share with the overall community. So, without further ado, let's go and bring on Mr. Dennis O'Leary. Mr. O'Leary, how are you, sir? What is going on with you? It is early November, and
Yeah,
every day's Groundhog's Day, but today could be a good day, right?
this is true. My day changes like the weather.
I never know what hemisphere you're in. I never know if we're talking and you're 40,000 feet in the air or what the case may be. But irregardless of that, talk to me, sir. You reached out earlier uh, today and had some insights and some information that you wanted to share with the overall community. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you for entrusting me and my platform and my community to break some of this news. But I'm just going to open the floor. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to put the camera solely on you and talk to us a little bit about some of the you gave me a little bit of insight, but talk to us a little bit about what's going on with Dark Pulse as of now.
Yeah, so what isn't going on with DarkPulse
True,
as
right?
of now? um, yeah, I mean, it's slightly a testament to my insanity, right? Because there's so many bits and pieces. But collectively, I mean, they actually do tie all into each other. There's a goal, and but the reason why I wanted to reach out, I hadn't realized that I wasn't really updating as much as I would like to. And you and I have a history. I've been on the show a couple of times, and I like the format. You always have the great questions, I think it's very fair the way you put things out. So uh, that's you're my preferred venue, right?
I
Yeah, I
appreciate that,
just
sir.
overall, yeah, I just like the show overall. Yeah, yeah, no, so just a lot going on, and but I think you know I think it warranted to talk to you, with an announcement coming because I think it's very important. It's a big part of what I've been working on, and what it is, it's actually related to the electric vehicle charging lanes, and this is I mentioned it a while back, um, and we've been doing a lot behind the scenes. I've actually built an engineering team. It includes insiders like our employees, Optalon's employees, and then some partners. But more importantly, um, we were working on our own a little bit in a vacuum, being competitive. There's sort of this race to the top to who's going to get the IEEE standard for vehicle charging,
Mm.
and I was happy on my own path, but I found that maybe sometimes working as part of a larger community, there's some acceleration into what you're actually doing. So actually, what happened, and the reason I wanted to break it on your show, is we actually signed with Utah State University.
Wow.
They're part of this thing called Aspire. Um, it's Yeah, it's federally funded, and what it is, it's a group of about 50 partners. Most of the auto manufacturers, including like Ford is one of them, and I believe GM, but a lot of Department of Transportations. They have a working system in terms of in-road dynamic charging, and just like, again, just like this community and a lot going on. So I actually decided to join them. So our team is actually going to mesh into the team at Aspire. And there's a lot of benefits. One is having access to the intellectual property that they've already created. They've been running for somewhere around 5 years already. There's a test track at the university that partners have access to. There's some intellectual property opportunities as well. And that's not to say we're not going to continue to experiment, I guess, and prototype and build, our own sort of charging system, this cable system. But it's like I say, I think it's better actually becoming part of a larger community because it can help guide us in terms of our design, and then look at what's actually out there already. And there's some big names. They have a project in Florida. They have another project in Michigan that's made a couple of headlines, and again, yeah. So just figured makes sense to you know put our expertise and our capabilities into this community and push it forward.
That is really cool. In road dynamic charging. And listen, as you know, I've got EVs here in my garage, and I could definitely benefit from that. I like the fact that you are cognizant of the fact that joining a organization or joining a team, consortium, group, whatever you want to call it, that's already down the road. Like you said, 5 years down the road, down this path of doing this type of work makes sense. And also, I think for the folks who are watching Dark Pulse as a company, and again, this is me, third person looking in, saying this still fits into the overall goal and the overall mission of the company. Smart cities, smart infrastructure, all of that stuff, right? This is still very locked in terms of what you're already doing. Smart bridges, smart buildings. Now we're talking about smart roads and that type of thing, right? Am I off on that, or again, that's what I'm reading when I hear
No,
you say that?
yeah, that's exactly correct. And even to that point, um, it is the smart road. That's what we're going after. So it doesn't matter if it's our inductive technology or the university's inductive technology or some other company out there or group that has this, dynamic charging capability. We can still lay our system beside that. But that's not to say that we're not, focused on EV charging because we are. So we'll have our own product that we're going to continue to work on. But again, look at what we have access to.
Yeah.
There's so many researchers in that group, right? And again, major automotive manufacturers, huge piece of the puzzle because again, you can have dynamic charging in the road. You need that piece of hardware between the road and the vehicle to get the charge into the battery. So again, it gave us a lot of access. It gave us more capabilities, and I'm really interested in the intellectual property that they've created and other companies are using now. And like I say, there's a couple of pilot projects, and one of the other things that we are working on, and I don't, it's not going to be in the press release today, but we're working on a pilot project as well. And I anticipate announcing that relatively soon. It's going to be on the West Coast of the United States. And the pilot project is just like the other pilot projects that Aspire is part of, is going to be the sort of test run in a real world environment of some dynamic vehicle charging. So again, yeah, it's the technology, it's smart infrastructure, smart roads, but now having the ability to dynamically charge electric vehicles, and we're right in there. So
That's pretty cool. And you mentioned some giants, right? You mentioned Ford, you mentioned GM. If we can get Elon to quit messing around with Twitter, and we can get him to pick up the phone when Dennis O'Leary calls, maybe we can get something going with that. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know some
throw
folks.
it in, throw it in
Maybe
the ether.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we can put that karma out there and get that man to do some of that as well. But I mean, that's exciting.
yeah,
So congratulations on that. And uh,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of work that's involved in that, just from an engineering perspective, from a intellectual conversation perspective, maybe even capital expenditure perspective. But again, at the end of the day, I'll backtrack and say again, this seems to already be in line with what Dark Pulse is doing, right? Critical
Sure.
infrastructure solutions and around smart cities, smart bridges, smart buildings, now smart roads and things of that nature. So that's pretty cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool, man.
yeah. No, like I say, it is definitely. I mean, hate to say the word landscape because we're talking cities, but the landscape, if you do look across the landscape in terms of technology and integrating technologies together to create a smart city, we're in every aspect of that, right? We have the sensors that are able to create, intelligent infrastructure. We're looking at dynamic charging, and then there's actually some other tech that we're looking at that will help extend the range of electric vehicles too. So to become a really smart city, there's a lot of interconnections, not just infrastructure. And I know, also, uh, some critics out there on the brain chips, but that's part of it as well too. Having connected citizens to smart infrastructure, that's down the road. No panicking there. No brain chips into anybody yet. Uh, at least to be part of a smart city. But and then you have to look at electric vehicles, right? So we're looking at technologies that, again, through dynamic charging, different battery technologies, because the reduction in the size and weight of the battery, and then of course thrown in dynamic charging, that increases the range almost to limitless. So you have reduction in cost, reduction in weight, and EV, that, again, we talk about autonomous and autonomous vehicles. The only way you can have a truly autonomous vehicle is if you have a dynamic charging capability,
Hmm.
so that you essentially could get in your car in Los Angeles, go to sleep, and wake up, on you somewhere along the road, or maybe all, depending how well you can sleep, all the way to New York City without touching that thing.
Love it.
And it sounds futuristic, but it's here, right?
No,
We've
I
got
mean it's literally, yeah, you're right. It's here that those conversations are happening, and I got to make the drive from here, Northern California to Southern California in 2 weeks, and I would just love to not have to stop at Kettleman City to recharge my car,
yeah,
but just let it go. So that's good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, and look at the environmental impact on it as well too. In that, again, reduction in the size of batteries that are required. So there's a whole host of positive things there environmentally. And then, having the choice, if you don't want to stop, to actually be able to. I mean, when I used to drive cross country, I used to drive, pretty much so I was out of gas, so
Yeah,
hours on the road, not having to stop, every hour or so to do a 15-minute quick charge, right? So it's just good to have options, I think.
that's good. That's great. So I know it's early on, and again, this is kind of again a early announcement, early even before the press officially comes out, but. Um, How long do you think before you really start getting your hands dirty with maybe having something laid in the ground, right? Something that someone can literally drive over. There can actually be a beta test, or there could be something that could be said that this
Sure.
is the test bed for the Ford Mustang EV that can drive over that. Maybe not the Tesla, but maybe the Ford F-150 Lightning can actually utilize this road. How long do you think this? The technology, I think, is there, but before all the pieces get laid in place to where we can actually start using it in a engineering environment. I'm not even thinking about just regular consumers taking advantage of it, because I'm sure that's further off.
Yeah, no, so really, it's hard to say because I have to avoid forward-looking
Hmm.
statements, but the, the tech is there in that Aspire has the tech and it's been running. So I would like to be able to put our own technology in there. So, we're talking a couple of months, of, more engineering, I guess, we'll put it
Right.
that way. Um, the other part is getting the government entity to sign on the dotted line, which, we're close on that. So again, I anticipate announcing it relatively soon that we will have a pilot project. And then it's just deciding what should we do at this point. Again, I'm leaning towards having our own tech in the ground. But, if it's something that, the university has, we know that it works. There's nothing wrong with putting their tech in the ground next to our sensing capability, still creating a smart road. I guess it depends on the desire and the timeline. There's a lot of money out there now for this. The Department of Energy has like $80 billion
Wow.
for infrastructure, and various states actually have quite a bit of money just for this sort of building dynamic charging. And again, we'll see more and more of these type of pilots pop up around the United States, and Aspire is actually driving those. And I should mention, as part of the membership now that we're with Aspire, I'm actually going on to the policy committee because there's a lot of rules and laws around public and private, I guess, interactions or partnerships, especially along, let's say, an interstate. Right now, I would say it's forbidden, but there's no legislator that says a private company can run this power cables and charge people to, charge per mile on an interstate, right? You have to be off the right of way. So there's some policy decisions that need to be made in DC. And it's no secret, I've been in DC quite a bit lately. We have a really good network in there. So in terms of all the committees that were offered for me to actually join, I felt policy would be the most, I get the most done on policy. So I'll be working with the Aspire team in DC and elsewhere to help sort of craft, those policies so that this interstate or countrywide dynamic charging capability will actually come to fruition. So Aspire's been pushing on that for a number of years, and I'm happy to be actually part of that committee now going forward and bring whatever I can to the table to actually make this happen, right? So it's not bits and pieces in this road and maybe not this interstate. It should be something across the entire United States. And honestly, we're looking outside the United States as well, like countries like India, for instance.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And we have a nice presence in India. But anyway, policy drives a lot of things. So again, it's like we came in from the cold. It's not design things on your own, but you have the support, you have the additional capabilities. Like I say, there's some tech out there, and past performances as well that Aspire has collected over the years, and it's a great team. So we're going to jump in with those guys, and like I said,
That's
we'll
gonna be
still be
cool.
on our own thing. But yeah, definitely going to be cool to work with people, across the entire United States.
Yeah,
And
so you being in that room, right? You being in that room, being able to sit at that table and help make decisions and all that. That's value right there, and that
sure.
shows that Aspire, all the agencies recognize the value that you bring to the table and to the conversation from what you've already done. Again, I'm third person outside looking in, but to sit at that table, maybe the head of the table, guys. I mean, listen, this is Dennis O'Leary's room, folks. He's sitting at the head of the table. Listen to this man. Um, well, all right,
Well,
man. That's
I,
pretty good stuff. Okay.
I was going to say I only sit at the head of the table at home. It's a lot safer.
Well, no, no. Does your wife know that? Make sure now. Again, I always say I wear the pants, but
Oh,
she holds the belt. So,
that's true. That's true. She's not within ear distance. You
I know
can't
she's
hear me.
probably, and I'm trying to stay on her good side, right? She's seen me a few times, and I want to make sure that I stay in good graces. Um,
Yeah.
what else you got going on, man? I mean that's huge, right? I mean, what else is going
Oh
on? But
yeah.
that's big enough, right? I mean that's a good announcement in terms
Yeah.
of where you've been spending a lot of your strategic mind for the company, and just to plant those seeds and to put that into motion. But um, inquiring minds want to know what else is Dennis
Yeah.
O'Leary plus DarkPulse into?
Well, I mean, really, just everything we've been talking about for the last couple of years in terms of deploying into critical infrastructure. So rail is a big piece. We have a lot of the certifications already because of Optalon. Optalon is in most of the London tube system. There's already been installations there. So we have a rail team that consists again of us, of Optalon, and then some outside people. We're actually looking at opportunities initially in the United States. Optalon works outside of the U.S., but we're pushing forward on getting some projects in rail. So that's still been brewing, and that's ongoing. I posted a picture today. I saw that I know you have a little insight on what
I
that
said,
was.
can I chip in and can I say what it is? But no, I left it
Yeah,
alone. I left it. I'm just here to instigate and heckle from the back of the room. That is
yeah,
my job.
yeah. That was actually a pretty good surprise because I had been pushing the guys to create something, and kind of like with the VR headset stuff, right? I always push the envelope, and
Yes, you do. Yes,
yeah.
you do.
But I got a good compliment today because the engineering team, they essentially tell me how they love what they do because I take them out of their comfort zone, right? I mean, like again with the user interface, that was a push on my part. Everybody was kind of happy with, keeping the interface looking like everybody else's, and I was like, that's just not going to happen. And then we went beyond, and we did virtual reality, and then there's another. So I guess I'll give some clues to it. That's fair, right? Um, so that's device. We're going to go after a patent for what we created. Not to say we'd be successful. I can't say that we're going to get a patent until we file and we see what happens. But that device has our tech inside of it. So stress, strain, temperature, things of that nature. Um, I'm trying to think how much more I could give.
That's probably all you could say, right? Because
Yeah, I,
I do not
it's always
want
hard.
there's four lawyers that I can think of off the top of my head who
Oh yeah,
are in my inbox all the time, and I just want to make
yeah,
sure I stay also on their good side. So,
yeah.
I've got the picture
They'll
up
push
right
the
now, and
pause
it
button. Oh, do you have? Oh, okay, good.
yeah, I've got
Yeah.
the picture
Oh
up
yeah,
right now, and it's really cool with the imprinting of the company name there. So
yeah,
we'll just wait until some of the
yeah. So
clouds
I
raise.
mean, but like a year and a half ago, I put the video out up at the university lab. We had launched the system, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do something similar like that. I'll just drop it out on Twitter. Just so we sign a system over to the UK to Opthalon for them to kind of plug this thing in. And what I'll do is I'll do like a little video demo for it. Um, I guess I'm trying to think. I'll say that it's related to electric vehicles. Let's put it that way. I think I could say that much.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just been something that it's been in my mind for a number of months and a lot of discussions. And from different discussions with different companies and people, we designed the product. And so it's actually going to be a new product. Of course, again, we have to go through all this testing. I don't want to seem misleading, but there's a lot of testing we still have to do. But it's a working prototype right now. We're going to file to get a patent. Again, we never know if we're going to get a patent, but it's our technology in that device. And of course, having the technology in that device, we still have the user interface that we can use the VR headset. So um, but I'll elaborate more. Again, we're going to make this sort of video demo. We have a system en route to the UK, and the guys are going to mess around in the lab a little bit, and then we'll have a video. So
No worries, no worries. But again, I appreciate you, and I'm sure the community, and I'm sure those vested in Dark
sure,
Pulse from a from a financial perspective are appreciative of at least progress continuing to happen, right? That
yeah,
progress continue to happen in the vein of the mission of the overall organization, right? Again, building smart infrastructure,
sure,
smart cities, all of that stuff, right? You're doing what you said you were going to do, and now there are prototypes, there are beta environments, there are uh,
yeah,
policy boards that you're on that are along those same types of things. So I think that's good for folks who, again, on the outside, and a lot of the folks that I met in Vegas as well, who stood up in front of the room and said, where are we going? What are we doing? How are we doing?
sure,
You're putting some action behind the conversation as well. Right. And there's
yeah,
some physical pieces that people can grab and look at and see as well. You sent the tweet out and I put the picture up. So I think that's, I don't
yeah,
know, refreshing, comforting, or just good for, again, folks that are vested in the organization to know that O'Leary and Squad are doing what they
yeah.
said they were going to do, and they haven't taken the foot off the accelerator as of yet.
No,
That sound about
not
right?
Yeah, no, I mean that's that you nailed it, and really, if you look at all the things that we put out there, filings and press releases, there's so much that we've actually accomplished. That it's people forget those things because it's like so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody mentioned Gasos the other day in a post, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I think everyone forgot about, what we're doing in the Middle East, the multi-net, that's a channel partnership, a channel, partner program that we're launching, and I mentioned we ordered 165 units, so So, I mean, it took years to get the unit. The unit was running, it was a prototype for years. Anthony Brown and I, put this thing in all kinds of places. But getting it manufactured is a huge step. And to get to scale. So even for the manufacturer, and again, I haven't announced who it is, really for business reasons, competitive reasons. Um, Even making one is fine, but to try to do 165, and this is a major manufacturer, they need to scale to get they need to get themselves behind this to do it. So it might seem like things are taking more time than people want, but the bottom line is there's a million things that need to be done first
Yeah.
to make sure it's correctly, and a lot going on behind the scenes. And again, it's difficult to like always update people because I get so buried in what I'm doing on a daily basis. I don't think to pick my head up. But today I thought it'd be kind of cool, um, just to kind of stick that picture out there and I got to say, I think there was like 70, maybe 70 responses. Somebody actually nailed it, but I haven't said who it was yet. So
Yeah, I saw it, and
you see
I
that?
was hit up with a couple of DMs and asked, and I said, no, listen, no, this is Mr. O'Leary's
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
right here. But I said, okay, pretty cool. Somebody with some eagle eyes there, but it's all good.
Yeah. Somebody figured it out. So, well, I'm going to reach out to them. We got to figure out what to do. I hate to keep like giving away lunches with me. I mean, come on. Um, Lunch with James Hicks.
There you
That's
go. Look, every time I go to a new city, I plan a meetup, and
oh,
couple of
great.
places, folks have taken me up on it. But a lunch
Yeah.
with me and you, done, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah,
Right.
there we go.
The whole meet and greet, isn't that just a great thing? Like you get
Yeah.
to actually meet people, they get to really spend time with you and then kind of get a sense of who you are. So I love doing those, and I'll be doing those again really soon again. Um, but yeah, anyway, it might not seem it to from the outside, but it's really exciting times, especially for us. And again, this is a big piece. I mean, again, we're talking about infrastructure, monitoring critical infrastructure. And imagine having sensors in these roadways, and not just in the United States. And then again, like having the dynamic charging. What does that do to people's lives? Where again, environmental impacts, increased range. You get rid of that fear of, well, I have a rental car. What happens if this occurs on the road and I'm stuck? So it, it I think it adds to the change that Elon Musk started in the automotive industry by pushing, to get this dynamic charging out there. So being part of it is huge for me. And, like I say, I love what I do, and I appreciate that people put me in the position here to do it. So I'm grateful every day for it. And yeah, just this is
We'll
pretty
end right
exciting.
there, right? I mean, because that's the mic drop statement right there. I mean, just keep doing the good
I
work.
agree.
Keep focus on the mission. Keep focus on what you're put in the big chair to do, and I think things will be all right. So, um,
Agree.
go rest up, sir. I
Yeah.
know probably in the next 12, 24 hours you're going to be 40,000 feet up in the air again, but
Yeah.
keep doing the good work, and I appreciate you again for honoring me and my platform and my community with sharing some of this breaking news. So we look forward to the next conversation, and until then, Dennis O'Leary, take care of yourself, sir.
You too. Thank you, James. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.